Idaho murders, crime scenes, chilling similarity to Amanda Knox case, says ex-cop. A former police officer has said that cops released the crime scene of the Idaho murders too early, and it could cause issues similar to the botched investigation of the 2007 murder case against Amanda Knox. The public was shocked when Moscow, Idaho police started removing victims' belongings from an off-campus home in early December 2022, which was the site of 4 gruesome murders less than 2 months before. Bryan Kohberger stands accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in an off-campus home. Poor guy. A former police officer compared the Idaho murder scene to that of the Meredith Kircher, whose police wrongfully accused Amanda Knox, pictured above. She's aged well. In the killing in 2007. So, looking at this photo, only 2 months after, they're in their bare hands. Nothing on their no protection on their shoes. There's nothing on their shoes. The house is they're not wearing masks, yet it's supposed to be a toxic place that no one can go into. Yet they're not wearing any masks. They're not wearing any protection. Are they? And what is this guy by the door looking at down on the ground? I want to know what he's looking at. And what are they high-fiving crap for? Is that Blaker? This whole thing just pisses me off. It really does. And then, you guys watch those videos back where they're hauling stuff out. There's no blood on any of those things inside there. Nothing on those totes. Nothing in there. This is just so bizarre. Anyway, the ex-cop that the police released the crime scene too. The ex-cop thought that the police released the crime scene too early, which may cause issues, like the botched crime scene of Kircher's death. In the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, God rest their souls, 4 University of Idaho students, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, Madison Mogan, 21, Xana Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20, were brutally stabbed to death. Former criminologist PhD student Bryan Kohberger, 28, stands accused of the murders. However, he has maintained his innocence. Former New York Police Department commanding officer Joe Giacoloni did not understand why Moscow police would release the crime scene so early on. Once they started giving family members back stuff from the house, as far as I was concerned, the crime scene was over. He said in an exclusive interview with the U.S. Sun at CrimeCon in Orlando, Florida. Advertisement? Wait a minute. but then, sorry about that. But then, here they are going back. But then here they are going back to the house. They shut it down. They said they sent in cleaners. If you remember too. It was like, what are you guys doing, right? So that makes total sense, you guys. Man, I tell you, they really didn't think this through, did they? You don't release a crime scene until you are 150% sure you've done everything. He added, you take the time because you only get one chance to do it right. And if you screw it up, there's no second chance. He compared the Idaho murders crime scene to that of the Meredith Kircher, a 21-year-old British exchange student who was found dead in her Perugia apartment in Italy in 2007, which she shared with fellow American exchange student Amanda Knox. Knox, who was 20 at the time, was wrongfully convicted of Kircher's death and had to spend nearly 4 years in an Italian prison. Imagine that, you guys, not even knowing the language, and their whole system is so totally different. Authorities later arrested Perugia native Rudy Gude, and convicted him of the murder, clearing Knox of the crime. Knox later became an author, writing a best-selling memoir titled Waiting to be Heard. Speaking of the similarities between the murder investigation of Kircher and that of the Idaho students, he said they did the same thing, the Italian police. They botched the entire crime scene stuff. Then they came back 2 weeks later and said, oh, I found the bloody bra. Remember that? It all got thrown out. Like, are you kidding me? After 2 weeks later, you went back and you found this incriminating piece of evidence? Even if it's legit, you create reasonable doubt. When prosecutors have been, while prosecutors have been building a case against Kohberger for the Idaho murders, he said believes the best place to look for clues is a defendant's car. To me, the most important thing is, did they find anything in his car? Because you can't slaughter 4 people, get in your car. I don't care if he bleached it. He'd have to set that car on fire in order to get rid of all that DNA evidence. He explained, I tell people, it's like, remember when you were a kid, you were making a milkshake at home, and the cover comes off, and the stuff goes everywhere, and you think you cleaned it all up, and then 6 months later, you pull a dish out, and you find chocolate milk on the bottom of it, right? You can't get rid of everything. This is the exchange student. Okay, Kersher was 21 years old, British exchange student who was found dead in her apartment. Oh, yeah. Eeks. Ooh. Okay, I go past. Oh, they blocked it out. Idaho police should look in Kohberger's car for key evidence, the former police officer said. Well, they did. They tore that darn thing apart. Right down to taking the seatbelt straps out, taking off the gas pedal, probably probably everything. And they found nothing. Nothing. So you guys remember, after the fact, those 4 guys that went in and gathered whatever they got, and then there was this big old, like, right after that, it was like, I think that was a grand jury thingamajigger or whatever. Sorry, I'm scrolling up. I want to find this picture real quick. Those guys went in without a mask. And I think all of them but one had gloves on, if I remember correctly. But they didn't have anything on their shoes. They didn't have any, like, literally the stuff that they say they clean this place with is so toxic that they have to tear the whole place down. I don't know much about that kind of stuff. But from what I've heard from other people, it is. It's really toxic. You can't get it out. It just has to be, like, it literally has to be ripped out, like if it was on cupboards, or they have to be totally torn out and redone. And so I want to know what makes these guys right here superhuman, that they can go in here and breathe without a mask all these toxic chemicals and come out with nothing on their shoes. Like, did they like walk on water but walk over carpet like Jesus did? I mean, do they hover over it as they're going? They have hover shoes on? I don't know. I can't tell. Can you guys blow it up and see if they've got hover shoes on? If they even have that kind of thing? Or do they have built-in respirators in their chests? Like a little button, like a little hood comes out of their back of their head, comes over, locks down on them. Automatic. Moscow is getting really ahead of their times if that's the case. But then again, they were the first to be successful at cloning a mule, which they now use for racing, to benefit them to line their pockets. Oh, let's go clone a mule. Mules are, man, they're beautiful, beautiful animals. And they're strong. But they do not like racing. They are workhorses. But not that kind of work. They had to probably, I'm just going to say it, beat the hell out of them to get them to do it. It makes me sick to my stomach that they're doing this. What else are they cloning over there? I mean, seriously, it's so weird to think they cloned a freaking mule. And a beautiful one, and a strong one. I've made a video of it. It's in my library. What else are they doing over there? They're doing something. I don't know what, but they're doing something. And if it's hovercraft and, like ports with, little buttons that have little face masks that come out, little things. Wow. We got to see this stuff, man. It's going to be pretty cool. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's much different than that. That's why I'm very curious. Why all the abandoned cars? Well, Are those abandoned cars actually there for across from certain places for surveillance? Do they have like cameras in them, or periodically a person in there watching? Maybe. There's way too many abandoned cars. They are consistently on the report every single day. And not just one, not just two. There's usually like 3 or 4. And the animals, the dogs. What's going on with the dogs? Could these cars be from people that are missing? Maybe? And maybe these are their dogs? These dogs are running around. They don't have an owner anymore because there's an abandoned vehicle and a missing person and now a homeless dog. What are you guys' thoughts on this? This thing's so weird. And it's just, it doesn't make sense. And that's really my head. It's the only thing I can think of. I mean, no way. Okay, put it this way. It's a college town. What college kid's going to abandon their freaking vehicle? Nada. That's all they got. I remember before, right in the beginning of this case, now it's going through the police reports, and I remember there was someone had called in a report on a camper, that camper truck thing that was parked on the hill on Melinta, that had been there for, I don't know, it was like either 2 weeks or a month, 2 weeks or a month or something like that. And anyway, they reported it, and I guess it just went away, like it was there and then it was gone. So, I mean, was this something to do with this? I mean, are they strategically placing these vehicles in spots? I think we need to get like one of those big maps with those tacks on it and start tacking up those spots where those cars are. That's a darn good idea, you know it? Ooh, that's interesting. That would be kind of fun, too. What do you guys think? Now I gotta go find me a map. A big one. Moscow. Idaho. Ooh, that would be kind of fun, don't you guys think? Now I'm on a mission. Boy, that's going to be oh my gosh. I don't know how I'm going to fit all those tacks in there. Maybe they have like little mini tacks, or maybe I can use like put it on a cork board and put like those stick those pins, like not sewing pins, but stick pins or what, I don't know what they're called. But the ones with the little colored tops on them, just the really little ones, because those tacks are going to be way too big. Literally it's going to cover everything in a matter of, I don't know, a few days. So either that or a really big map. Okay, well, I just wanted to read you this, and I wanted to gripe a little bit about what they're wearing. No way is it this toxic in there if they're just going in there like, hey, street clothes, street shoes, no mask, no gloves, whatever. Not true. That does not fly. And they were doing this from the beginning. There's pictures of them going in there from the beginning with no gloves on, with no masks, with no booties, no nothing. They didn't even walk the grid. You always walk the grid, right? Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening to me gripe. Think on it. Tell me what you think about that map thing. All right. Take it easy.